What's going on, guys, and welcome back to San Diego State, where we had a really interesting season last season. And the only reason why I say that is because we ended up going 7-5 during the regular season, made the Mountain West Conference Championship and won it, but also made the playoffs as a 7-5 team, or 8-5 if you want to count the conference championship. But that was a much worse record than the season before, where we didn't even make the playoffs. So I don't know really how to gauge this season. I don't know if we can still make the playoffs by losing 5 games or if we have to go, 10-2. Either way, though, we're going to have a really interesting time here, and I think we have a really good team to be able to go forward with, because looking at our depth chart, Doug Davis ended up improving just a little bit, and he is going to be our starting quarterback at an 87 overall. Obviously, I wish that his speed ended up going up a little bit, but still, not too bad. Mama might actually be a really good backup, especially with that speed, if we want to go with something more like Wildcat, or we want to end up going with the option. But either way, we do have some really good options. At halfback, we got Valdez, who is a 93 overall with some really good speed. And we also have some pretty good guys in the wide receiver room. A lot of great guys with some speed, especially Shelley, but a lot of guys that are starting to age a little bit. Some of them are only going to be here for another 2 years, so we need to make the most of them while they're here. Of course, our tight end is a 91 overall with a great backup as well with Canty. And then we also have a really talented offensive line, which is really going to protect. Obviously, the center needs a little bit of work, but we'll get there eventually. And our defense is extremely stellar too. And that is why we are a 90 overall in pretty much every single category here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team can end up doing, especially Tritola there at cornerback. But it's going to be a really interesting season. I'm really excited to see if we can win our 3rd consecutive Mountain West Conference Championship. But either way, let's look at these prospects and see who's from California that we can end up putting on our board. And the 14th ranked prospect is actually a 5-star quarterback and a scrambler. So I'm actually going to put him on the board despite the fact that it's not necessarily a need for us, but honestly, it's going to be a really great thing. But of course, we are going to go after a lot of these guys that are needs and ones that, again, we're really going to have to focus on. And we got a lot of really good guys on the board here. I'm excited to end up scouting them. Now, we did end up only going with 4- and 5-star guys right now because, again, we have a lack of hours, and that is not great to see. The number 14 prospect and the second best quarterback in the class being a bust, but we will still keep him on the board. 91 throw power, great accuracy, and 83 speed. Maybe not great for a scrambler, but still not too bad. And even though it's not necessarily a need for us, hey, we end up finding a gem at corner. 90 speed, which isn't great, but still, again, as a gem, he's going to develop. And it looks like if we can get him, Brian Pounds is going to pound his way into the starting lineup. I don't care how bad that joke was, because Juan Boozer is a 4-star gem as a run stopper. He's going to be really good. And I wish I had more hours, but unfortunately, obviously, because we got rid of a coach, it's not going to be the case, as Moffat ends up being a 4-star gem at middle linebacker. That is going to be a big need for us. But we did end up getting through our entire list, being able to scout and offer scholarships, and we have 95 hours left, so I think I'm going to get 2 more guys to be able to put on this board. But the good news so far is we do only have 2 busts. Unfortunately, that is at offensive line and at quarterback, but we do have 6 different gems on the board, and hopefully we'll be able to find 1 or 2 more, even if they are 3 stars. The good news is we have a lot of needs that could potentially be satisfied by 3-star athletes here, and unfortunately we didn't find a gem, but at least we haven't found a bust yet, you know what I mean? Maybe I shouldn't have talked. But thankfully, we make up for it as Vi Prince, right outside linebacker, is going to be a gem. That's great. That makes me feel a little bit better. So we're currently sitting with 25 guys on the board, which is great, but question is, are we going to have the hours in week 0 to be able to put enough on them to be able to keep a lot of them interested? I would doubt it, but let's go into this and let's see who we can get. But unfortunately, things do not start off well, as 2 gems have already locked us out, along with a couple other guys too. But as always, we're going to keep them on the board just in case they open it back up. But per usual, we are going to send the house on all of the gems, and then we're going to try to spread the other hours around as much as humanly possible. Again, the good thing here is there are 2 gems that have locked us out, and I know that's not necessarily a good thing, but again, that is going to free up some hours for some of these other guys. Now, surprisingly enough, this is one of those times where we end up having more than enough for everyone, and so we can end up putting 10 more on a couple of these other guys as well, just to really keep them interested. Problem is, I almost put them on the wrong guys, so don't worry, we're going to pick the right ones for this. But now that we know where we're going to distribute our hours, we can get into week 1. So let's get through this one, let's see who we're going to be facing for this first week, and hopefully we can get off on the right foot. And oh god, we are starting off with the number 1 team in the country. Oklahoma is number 1 right now. This is going to be a rough game. But since Sharp ended up locking us out, we do have 25 more hours, so let's distribute these a little bit. I really want to make sure that some of these guys that were like 3rd or 2nd or something like that hopefully these extra hours will push us up above them. But let's sim this game. Number 1, Oklahoma. However, it is at home. Maybe the 90 overall carries us. And it does. And that actually puts us at number 20 in the country as well. And thankfully, as we get into week 2, there are a lot of guys here that are ready for us to actually hard sell. And thankfully, process of elimination works for Ray Machado here. We really want to get him in and be able to seal the deal. And unfortunately, we're only going to have 4 weeks to be able to bring guys in on visits, including one that's not even going to be a game. Unfortunately, a lot of our games early in the season are going to be at home, and we just couldn't bring anyone in for them. And if that is going to be the case, then we don't necessarily need to rush into bringing anyone in. We should probably start that around like week 4 maybe, but either way, we'll find a way to get these guys in on visits as we end up simming through our first conference matchup. Number 20 San Diego State at home against UNLV, who is 0-1. Let's hope that we're going to be 2-0 on the other side. And we're starting the season off pretty well. 2-0, number 18 in the nation, feeling really good, as our next game is going to be on the road against Arizona State. But we are going to have to start bringing some of these guys in on visits, and that means that we're going to have to start to really kind of hard sell on some of these guys too. So kind of thinking strategically here, I think that San Jose State game is probably going to be a defensive visit week, and then Utah State's probably going to be an offensive one. Doesn't look like there's going to be one on here that's really going to give us any big benefit if we win, so let's just make sure that we schedule guys that have complimentary visits. Obviously, we're only going to be able to schedule one this week, but either way, it's still going to be okay. We're going to be able to hopefully land Machado sooner rather than later, and hopefully we can get some of these guys off the board pretty quickly. But let's go. Arizona State non-conference game, but unfortunately, we dropped that game. That is a little rough. And now we're going to have to deal with Louisiana Tech on the road. And that means that we're really going to have to sell our school to a lot of these guys. And again, bring some really good complimentary visits, as thankfully the free safety and the cornerback go really well together. I think once we get into next week, we can actually bring Boozer in as well in that same week. And maybe even Mofat as well. But again, we're going to have to start really bringing some of the offensive guys in the week after, so we'll focus on them too. But Sim, don't fail me now. Come on, I do not want to be 2-2. And damn, Mangold ends up committing before he even visits. That's great, and that's going to free up a ton of hours. But we also lost a ton of guys as well. That's unfortunate. But we do end up picking up the win, and we climb back up into the top 25. As good as it feels to put Mangold down there at the bottom as a commit, it's going to be tough to remove a lot of these other guys too, especially Lorenzo. But thankfully for us, Vi Prince ends up opening it back up, and we have a chance again. I can't believe we lost a lot of these guys to Arizona State and Oregon. Notre Dame too, that's the second guy. But the good news is that frees up a ton of hours. And again, now we can actually start going after some of these guys too. And the fact that we already know 2 of these means I think we might be able to guess it. Never mind, because there are a couple more. So let's end up sending the house for him, and probably for the other guy that opened it back up, Rawls. But with 130 hours, that's going to allow us to bring in 3 guys to end up visiting. So we're going to have to choose pretty carefully. But again, we really want to make sure that we focus on that first week for the defensive guys, as that ends up being another complimentary visit. And surprisingly enough, even though we only really know one of his things, we're going to bring Vi Prince in. That's a great complimentary visit right there. And again, that proximity to home ain't going to change. And I think it's time that we actually start to bring someone in for that Utah State game. So let's start on the offense here, and let's hope that we can get this guy pretty quickly too. But right now, we got a lot of hours on pretty much everybody. We do only have 16 targets that we're going after right now, but as long as we're able to land them, we can look at some of the other 3 stars. But that means I think we only have one more game to sim through before we can actually hop into one, and this is going to be a big one against Nevada. 3-1 as well, but haven't played a conference game yet. Let's stay in the top 25 and stay pretty good in the conference too. And we got the free safety, Ray Machado, already too. I know that that's still going to be, I guess, a wasted visit, but the complimentary visit for the other 2 guys visiting, I think is going to be really helpful too. And unfortunately, we do end up losing. That is rough. Especially considering the fact that we did have the Defensive Player of the Week with Robert Stoneburner, 1 sack and 3 tackles, which is crazy because we ended up losing 38-16. What ended up happening here? Davis, 222, a touchdown and interception. Not great on the ground, obviously. Hennessy had a great game, but unfortunately no one else. No TFLs. We did have that 1 sack from Stoneburner, and that was enough to be Defensive Player of the Week? Call me crazy, but I think that's a little insane. Either way, though, let's end up bringing a couple other guys in on visits, especially since Kevin Dell, again, even though he is a bust, still a really good quarterback and one that we want to land, but we fall down to third. Let's see if maybe we can, kind of change his mind with a visit. And that game in Week 8 against Utah State, I think is going to be one where we're going to land a lot of offensive linemen and hopefully a quarterback too, because we got a couple guys visiting that week. So I was wrong last week. We do have one more game to sit through. Unfortunately, that is going to be halfway through the season. We'll check the stats in a minute as well after this game against Boise State on the road. Surprisingly, they have not played a conference game yet, but we played two, and boy, have we split them. Let's make sure that we're not at 500 after this. At least we do get a commit, middle linebacker too. That's great. Our defense is going to be good, but you see we lose 3 other guys too to Oregon and Arizona State. And we did end up losing against Boise State too, and I think our chances of going for a three-peat pretty much out the window now as we do end up losing one boozer. That's rough. But thankfully, with all the newfound hours, we're able to go really hard at every single one that we have on our board, thankfully. And that means that hopefully we can get some more commits and we'll be able to free up some more hours to bring some other recruits on board. But thankfully, we're finally at a point where we can jump into a game. And thankfully, this one looks like it'll be not easy per se, but one that's going to be extremely winnable. Let's bring San Jose State to San Diego, and let's see if we can push ourselves to 4-3. But as we get into the second quarter, we're down 7-0. I don't know how we have not been able to score yet because, again, we have a really powerful offense. As Coker gets free, let's go. We get all the way down to the 3-yard line. Thankfully, that's all we need. Now with the 2-minute warning, we're going to get into the end zone right here. Thankfully, he dives and catches it. That was not an accurate throw, but thankfully he's good enough to be able to adjust. And our defense actually gives us a chance to score one more time before the end of half. Let's see if we can get it. Can he get there? Give me a... No, that was bad. Then again, we were dealing with a really heavy pass rush there, but that's okay. Again, that's not going to be every single play as Coker gets it up to a 3rd and 1. But we do only have one timeout. We just need to pick up a first down right here, though. That is going to be the most important thing as he ends up getting hit, but still ends up finding a way to catch the ball. And now we just need to hurry up here. I think we take a shot over to Coker right now, but we'll see what the safety ends up doing. Yeah, no, he's going back to defend that, so that's perfect. Let's get out for a scramble. Let's pick up the first down and get out of bounds. So even if we're held to only a field goal here, we just need some points. As there we go, wide open across the middle is Pratt, and he's got some legs, gets all the way down to the 15. And now our chances of scoring here just went up dramatically. Oh, he's going to be wide open on the drag. Coker's got too much speed. They're not going to catch up with him, and we get in the end zone with 46 seconds left. But unfortunately, now they're threatening to score before the end of half and be able to push it back to a tie game. But come on, our defense is too good for that. As it looks like the middle is wide open, but we get in for a big sack. So let's see if we can do it again as they end up spiking the ball to go for the field goal. Only 3 seconds left, so that's a smart call. But let's see if we can get in and block it or see if he can push it to the right. And doinks, let's go! We keep the lead. I mean, we were going to keep the lead anyways, but you know what I mean. We did not allow them to score, which feels really good as we find a way to get that out. That was the weirdest animation I've ever seen. And Hennessy gets a first. But we're leaving it up to the Wildcat to be able to pick up this first down as... Oh, that's going to be a hold. That's coming back. And that, unfortunately, was one of our backup tight ends who ended up committing the penalty. But, hey, that's okay, though. That means that we can actually safely go for a throw right here. And unfortunately, I mean, granted, it wasn't picked. But still, not a reception. So 4th and 11, I think we're going to kick the field goal here. Question is, can we make it? Does it have the distance? You bet it does, and we got a 2-possession lead. But apparently nothing's been happening because it's still 24-14 with 28 seconds left as we try to put an end to their game. As thankfully, 4th and 8, they go for the check down, don't get it. And thankfully, despite a scare early on, we end up pulling away with this one, and we got another conference win. But before we advance the week and see if we got any commits, totally forgot to check the season stats. So, again, take this with a grain of salt. It's an extra game, but still, Davis, 1,865 yards with 15 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. My dude has been cleaning it up this season. Valdez, hopefully he can pick it up near the end of the season because 418, 3 touchdowns is not enough for someone with that overall. Hennessy is leading the team with 613. Shelley's got 405. And they account for 9 total touchdowns. Of course, Coker has 3 himself, Pratt with 2, and Valdez with 1. And on the defense, Dude, we're looking really good. Vincent, 6 TFLs, 5.5 sacks. Stoneburner, 4 TFLs, 5 sacks. And Gentry still got 5 sacks himself, which is good. Hopefully he can have a repeat of last season. But even if he doesn't, he's been playing extremely well. Another 5 sacks this season. If he gets double digits, I'm counting that as a positive. And Dennis Raymond ends up committing the right end. Vibrance, the right outside linebacker. And that's it, as we lose 3 guys to other schools. And that means we only have 6 guys on the board, which means I think we're going to max all these guys out, honestly. And then we're going to find a couple other guys. Now, the downside, though, is a lot of these guys that are actually needs for us already have us locked out, so we're going to have to be a little creative here. Now, I know we're going to have to scout a lot of these guys, and that's going to take up a lot of hours, but still, being able to find guys like Mafulu right here, who is a 3-star gem as a deep threat wide receiver, it's nice to find those and know that those are the guys that we really want to go after. So let's really focus on the gem and also the 2 other 4-stars as well. I know it's going to be a little difficult to land these guys, especially with only 15 hours on them. But hey, you know what? We can always give it a shot. But thankfully, we get a chance to play back-to-back weeks as we get to face Utah State at home. But I just realized something, and that's if you look at our schedule, we only have 5 home games. Somehow we scheduled 7 away games. So I'm going to have to really keep an eye on that next season. Make sure that we get at least 6 home games. But let's go. We're facing Utah State, and it looks like something happened on our defense where we end up going down to an 89. But let's get into this one, and let's see if we can stay with only 2 losses in the conference. Because even though I don't think that a team with 2 losses is going to make it to the conference championship, at least we kind of give ourselves a shot if we kind of stay where we're at. And yeah, now I see why we went down. Stoneburner's out with the torn labrum. Gentry's out with the torn labrum. Our wide receiver, Shelley's out with a foot fracture. And we're missing guys on both lines, man. This is rough. But as long as we can squeak out wins, dude, I'm going to be happy. We are up 7-0 because of a really great toss to Hennessy down the middle for a really big gain. But let's see if we can keep this drive alive here as we send Valdez out in motion. And we're just going to scramble for it because we have a wide open hole as Davis gets in. And we got a 2-score lead. And we still have a 2-possession lead. However, we've both gotten a score since then. 21-7. Let's keep it up right here as we'll hit the drag. That is Pratt. Spin around him. That was a bad idea, but we get down to the 26. Now we have a chance to go up by 3 possessions. As thankfully we get it over to Hennessy, who catches it, turns upfield, and gets in the end zone. Oh man, I'm going to miss him when he's gone. But who doesn't love a little Hennessy, am I right? Let's see if we can go up by 4 possessions here. Oh, we're going to go deep on this one. He's got the separation. No, he doesn't. He can't get it far enough. And we still might try that again with only 1 safety deep. I think we got Valdez. Big play. Oh yeah, we're going up by 4 scores. Are you kidding me? And truly, I'm just checking for myself because I can't even believe it. And yeah, we're still on Heisman. And we're up 42-7, and we got to make a 4th and 3 stop right here with 6:45 left. Even if we don't make the stop, I think we have this game pretty well in hand, despite the fact that we do have a couple of backups in. And let's go! Oh my gosh. We get to him anyways. We just dove a little bit early. And by the time the game ends, we end up winning 45-17. We gave up 10 in the 4th, but that's okay. We had this game pretty well in hand. And Davis, while not extremely accurate, 11 for 23, 361 with 5 touchdowns. Now, of course, we didn't get much on the ground, even though Davis did have that 1 rushing touchdown. But Hennessy, man, 152, 3 touchdowns. Definitely the player of the game in my book. And despite the fact that the defense is pretty depleted right now, still 3 TFLs. We ended up having 4 sacks total. Unfortunately, no interceptions, but again, it was more than enough to get the job done. And thankfully, with that win, we were able to actually land Terrell Nicholson, wide receiver, Brian Pounds, the center, Nathan Hopper, the halfback, and Owen Gibbs, the quarterback. We just got ourselves a brand new offense. And Reggie Rawls, the left outside linebacker. We got 5 guys, but lost another one to Arizona State. What the fuck? But of course, Doug Davis, the offensive player of the week in the Mountain West Conference, and unfortunately not nationally. And with all those commits, we've really opened up a ton of hours. So with these 7 guys on the board, let's actually start to send the house on them, unless they're in their top 5. And we really know what they want to go after. And since we do have the extra hours, let's see if there's anyone else still on the board. Maybe someone open back up, or maybe we can just find a potential gem there too. Though it does look like a lot of these guys have already committed, but hey, let's put this fullback on the board. We also have another quarterback, but I think we're okay with that. Let's put another receiver up there. And how about the middle linebacker too? Hell, we might need a new kicker as well, so let's put him up there as well. Again, not a ton of needs that we have that we can actually go after, but still, if we can end up landing a couple of these guys, we can actually bolster our class rank too. And it's not like 3-star players are bad either, especially if you're able to find a gem. Like Chow right here, that's great, especially as a left guard. So even though he is a JUCO sophomore, I do really want to send the house on him as well because it'd be really great to have a player like that in a position we need. But with only week 13 left for us to be able to jump into and be able to schedule guys, we're going to have to pick and choose who we really want to bring in. And we do end up dropping to 5-4, which means that, again, our playoff hopes are pretty much dashed. And looking at the conference standings, we do have 2 teams that are 4-0 and Nevada that is 3-1. So we're going to need a lot of things to go right to be able to make it. And I'm not going to lie, after the way that last season went, that's a little disheartening, but it's okay. We can always come back next season. We still have a lot of really great guys on this team. And again, it's not like this season is completely over. Again, we might be able to find some pretty good luck here at the end. However, that is looking less and less likely here as we drop down to 5th in the Mountain West. But man, I was really hoping that this was going to be the season we became a bona fide playoff team. But fortunately, not the case. But hopefully, it's going to be an easy game against Hawaii. We always find a way to beat up on them. Let's see if we can stay with only 2 losses. By that, I mean in the conference, as we end up landing Mafulu, the 3-star gem wide receiver. Unfortunately, that's it. And thankfully, we do go to 6-4 as we have a chance to play Wyoming on the road in our second to last game of the season. Again, it'd be really nice to be able to only have 2 losses in the conference. Again, I know that's extremely rough because, again, we wanted to be a little bit better than that, and it's probably not going to be enough to get into the conference championship. But at the same time, we want to end the season on a really strong note. And surprisingly enough, we're not able to bring anyone in on a visit, unfortunately. And thankfully, with some extra hours, we ended up getting Tobias Brazil here, who is a 3-star gem at strong safety. The question is, are we going to be able to land him? We'll end up seeing as we end up advancing this week against Wyoming on the road. Let's see if we can get up to 7 wins. We're already bowl eligible. And thankfully, we do end up picking up the win. And that's really great, despite the fact that if we look at the conference standings, I don't think we're going to have a shot, unfortunately. Colorado State and Boise State are both 7-0. They can't lose 2 games in a matter of, 1 week. But that doesn't mean that we're going to take this game any lighter. We really need to beat New Mexico if we want to get these guys to commit. And again, we're going to need them for next season. Nice to see that we're up to 90 overall again, but still, it'd be nice to pick up a win and go 8-4. And the way that we're playing so far, I feel like we can do that. Now, I apologize because something happened on my other screen, so I'm playing on a much smaller screen with a little bit of delay. So I apologize if this is extremely embarrassing, but let's go for it right here. Can we see if we can pick this up? I think we're going to be able to do it with our feet. Oh, maybe not 4th and inches. But yeah, with our 90-something overall halfback, I think we can pick this up right up the middle, even though they blitz. And he's able to find a hole, and we got ourselves a 1st down. 1st and 10 down in the red zone. Send him in motion. Oh, he's going to be wide open on the out there. Turn it upfield. I can't believe we stepped out of bounds. Now again, man, that's totally on me. That little bit of delay just absolutely kills me. Can we pound it up the middle? We do. They didn't step up to him. Valdez has a touchdown. And somehow we get it back like right away. We have a chance to score and put us up by 3 possessions. Oh, he's guarding that this time, but he's wide open there. And he doesn't hold on to it. That is so rough. But to be fair, that wasn't the best throw. We were on the run, so it's not like we can really blame him for that as we hit the drag. And we don't get in the end zone, but we're down to the 1. And that means we're finishing it with either Valdez or Terrell right here. Oh, we're going Terrell. Let's go. He's going to be open. You saw that corner crash. And you know when you see him crash like that, you got that bubble screen wide open. Speaking of wide open, can you get down? No. Okay, well, my bad, but hey, you know what? That's one mistake. We're still up by a couple. Look, I never said I was perfect or good at this game, but still, we're going to be able to win this one. We're up by 14 right now, and we're trying to pick up a stop on 4th down as we are getting double teamed right here, and he's going to have to throw that out. Let's go. That means all we got to do is keep the drive alive here on 3rd and 4 with 2 minutes and some odd seconds, and honestly, I think I'm going to wait about 20 seconds. If we pick this up, we're going to have to put 2 clock on. But either way, we still need to pick this up. Can we? That was a really bad throw, but he is just so damn good. Shelly's got the 1st down. At least I think that was Shelly. Again, it's a very small screen. Either way, let's just run up the middle. Let's control the ball. Nice. We find a hole and we end up picking up about 5. Okay, so officially it was 4, but still, we're doing pretty well here, and we're making them waste their timeouts. Let's go. We got a good run there, and we got ourselves a first down to the 1. And we're playing so well this game that I don't mind scoring here. Let's go up by, well, maybe not 3 possessions because that was bad. And on second thought, I really do want to get in the end zone right here. Let's get an extra score, and let's go up by a bunch. And somehow there was some kind of fumble on the kickoff right there, and we end up getting the ball back, something like that. I don't even know. Either way, let's see if we can get another score, and let's see if we can embarrass them. I get it. It's not sportsmanlike, but so what? Let's get in the end zone one more time. Coker! Touchdown, baby. Look, we haven't had a great season. Yes, we went 8-4, but yeah, no way we make it to the conference championship. So that 38-10 victory, it kind of makes me feel a little bit better. And Valdez must have had a couple other touchdowns in the passing game too, because I don't think 77 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground is worthy of player of the game. And no, it's just the fact that we didn't really get it done in the air. We had 2 scores in the air, but unfortunately Davis was held to 104 yards with 3 touchdowns and an interception. That's my bad. And defensively, no TFLs, but man, what is that? 4 sacks? 4 interceptions? Yeah, we had a great game, and look at that, Tritola, our sophomore, with 2 picks himself. So maybe this season is going to end, anticlimactically because we're not going to make it to the playoffs. We don't even make it to the conference championship. But still, getting a couple more commits is going to be nice, and we're going to set ourselves up for the future. Mike Banks, middle linebacker. Doug Brent's wide receiver. Alan Berryman, the right outside linebacker. And while that obviously isn't enough to put us in the conference championship, like I said, I still feel really good about what bowl game we're going to get to. And even though a lot of these battles for some of these guys are going to get pushed into the offseason, I still feel pretty confident that we're going to be able to land the majority of them. But now we're going to have to get through all the conference championships, see who ends up making the playoffs, and see which bowl game we end up going to. Also, it's going to be early National Signing Day sometime soon here, as Dalton Chow ends up committing left guard, Steve Wilkins, and that's going to be it, but thankfully we did not lose anybody. So even though we're probably not going to end with the highest ranked class, we're still sitting at number 15 right now. Fortunately, we didn't get a 5-star this season, but still, we got some really good 4 stars and 3 stars. But thankfully, we're not going to have to wait for Tamopao? We got Vi here, middle linebacker, 3-star. We also got Fumagalli, the wide receiver as well. That's awesome. We also get Tobias Brazil, the 3-star gem, strong safety. That's great. George McAllister as well. We got ourselves a fullback. Now, we might actually have to change our playbook up again. We might need to find someone who can actually chuck the rock, because Dwayne Herron, 3,500 yards, 43 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. We need someone like that. And looks like we're going to be facing Eastern Michigan in the Arizona Bowl. And somehow we're up to number 19? I mean, we do have to find that quarterback first. That's going to be the main thing. But here we go. Early National Signing Day, we get a chance to see everyone's dev traits, as Brazil's going to be an impact. We got a couple impacts on here, actually. Unfortunately, we haven't landed Pape yet, so we don't know about him. But McAllister, the fullback, is a star? Wasn't even a gem and ends up being a star. That's great. Chow, the left guard, is one. Wilkins is unfortunately just going to be a normal. Same with Banks. Brent, same. Nicholson, the wide receiver, is going to be a star. Normal on Pounds. Hopper is a star. Gibbs is a star. We have an impact on Rawls. Mangold is a star. Same with Machado. Mafat. Prince is an impact. We got an impact on Raymond, Berryman, and on Lou too, but unfortunately no elites. But we should have kind of expected that because, again, we didn't end up getting any 5 stars, and even the 4-star gems didn't look like they were going to be elite prospects. But who knows? Maybe these guys can prove me wrong as we hop into the last game of the season as number 19 in the nation as we face Eastern Michigan, a 79 overall. If we don't beat the living shit out of these guys, I'm going to be surprised. And thankfully, we have a chance to get started on the right foot as we have it 3rd and 2. And just past midfield. Let's see if we can pick this up right here. Oh, we're going to get Valdez out of the backfield. And he's got a first down to the 35. So let's keep it in the air. It seems to be working. Let's see what we can get here as we do hit the slant. And we got him down to the 15. I'm sorry, the 20. Again, screen. My bad. Let's pick this up here. We're down at the 20-yard line. Let's end up picking it up as we do end up finding someone open, thankfully. Hennessy finds a little pocket. But that was a little too close for comfort. So 1st and goal on the 7. Let's run this one right up the middle. They're not going to expect it as we end up getting down to the 3. So we don't need many yards, but we need a few. Let's pick this up. Yeah, we'll hit him. Why not? We need a passing touchdown. We don't want to just run it in. And man, we're just overpowering these guys so well. I don't even get it, as we end up just dominating them on the front line, and we end up picking up a first. So let's get into the end zone, and I suspect it might be the drag that gets open. Oh, you bet it is. Little spin is not going to do it. Thankfully, we do get it down to the 3, though, and now we got a chance to get it on the jet sweep. By the way, I did not realize this bull was sponsored by Snoop Dogg. That's really great. Hopefully we can get past him. We can't. We got a 3rd and inches. So at the very least, let's end up picking up the first down here. And actually, let's get in the end zone. I don't know why I thought that was going to be an issue, but now we're in some trouble. We only got a 1-score lead, and they're down pretty much in the red zone now, as we need to find a way to get in. He's got all the time in the world. And yeah, he has to take his check down, and that is going to be a first down. That's just going to put more pressure on us offensively, as we have to find a way to be able to go right back up as they go for the RPO on the screen, and that's rough. They pick it up, and we're tied again. But thankfully, this is where we can pull ahead again. 6 minutes left down in the red zone. Let's pick this up. We got him on the out. Unfortunately, couldn't pick up that block, but we got it 2nd and inches. Now let's go with that jet sweep again. I feel like that could really work here. We just need to get it outside. Push it. Let's go. Oh, yeah, we got plenty of room. And we just kind of jog our way in. But they have a chance to respond as they're at about midfield. 3rd and 8, though. We need to pick up a big stop. Let's get him out of here. Get over there! Thankfully, we batted out. I was hoping he was going to grab it, though. But unfortunately, the offense couldn't do anything with it. Didn't even waste any of their timeouts. You gotta love Sim. But let's get out there. Oh, you gotta grab that, buddy. I thought he had a real shot there, but that's okay, because we can still stop them. We've been doing it all game, except for the 2 scores that they had. And oh my gosh, that was a bad angle. That's okay. We're going to get used to this. Let's go. 3 minutes left. Get in there. Good spin move, but unfortunately, that was not enough to be able to take him. He just got the ball out so quick. That's the rough thing. Well, let's go. Come on. We need a big stop right here. Even if we can hold them to a 4th down, that would be great, as they're just going to scramble out. Great block by the receiver for them. But of course, what good does that do us? None whatsoever. So come on. We need to pick up a stop as they just run it here. Understandable. So does that mean we're dumb and we're going to run commit right here? Yeah, I guess so. I guess that was the right thing. 3rd and 9 now. So let's go. One more stop. 3rd and 9 right here. Oh my gosh, that was a really bad angle by me. I should have picked him up sooner. And that's why I usually stick to the defensive line. Let's go. 2 minutes left. 1st and goal. Yep. Unfortunately, they get in, but we have plenty of time to go down and be able to get a field goal at least. Look, I know what you're thinking, but we're not going to lose this one. I promise. We're going to clutch this up, and we're going to find a way to get into the end zone, or at least be able to get the 3. This shouldn't be extremely difficult, and let's hope we can get them here on a little change. As no, we're going to have to throw this one out, and we're going to have to deal with a 3rd and 3. You know, if we would have just went for a run on 2nd down, I think we would have been fine. That's okay. Instead, let's hit him on that route right there. Ooh, he stays on his feet, and Pratt's got a first. So again, we all have 3 timeouts, so it's not like we have to really waste our time here. And unfortunately, running was not the right call as Pratt goes out with an injury. That's going to be huge. That means we got Canty out there now, which, hey, ain't bad, because he gets out, he gets free, and he's going to go down the sideline. We got a 3rd and inches. So we don't need much, but we need enough. That's the only thing. As we take the check down, and we got Valdez who gets down to the 40. Let's keep it going. We're not quite in field goal range, but we're definitely getting closer. As of course we hit Hennessy, gets down to a 2nd down. But again, where we're at right now is a really, really good position as we get the drag again. And Farrell's got the 1st down. Now at this point, we're just going to be running it to run the clock out and be able to get down and take our field goal. But again, the fact that I am playing on this delayed screen means that we need to get close enough to the end zone to be able to have an easy kick. I'm not going to lie, I am actually a little worried about that. But hopefully we can end up getting a 1st down right here as we get tripped up. 3rd and 6, how? I don't know how we got backed up like that. But either way, we're going to run it up the middle. We're going to center the kick. And let's just make sure that we have a pretty easy one right here. As thankfully we do get it centered, and we got the 1st down as well. Not that the 1st down's going to matter too much, because we're just going to be kicking a field goal here. Let's get it. Do we have the distance? You bet we do. And we got ourselves a bowl win. Let's go. I know it's not a playoff win, but hey, Still pick up Snoop Dogg's Arizona Bowl. Let's go. 24-21 against a pretty damn easy opponent. But hey, you know what? Again, at least we end the season on a good note. We had another positive season. And let's just go into next season and make sure that we're actually going to be set for the future. I think we got a couple quarterbacks who could really take the place of Doug Davis and be a little bit better too. And just in case you wanted to see the gin and juice, let's go. And man, Doug Davis had a really great senior season. Not bad considering the fact that he wasn't extremely great the last 2 seasons, but still good enough to be able to get us into the playoffs. But still, almost 3,500 yards, 31 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. Pretty minimal on the turnovers, and I can appreciate that a lot. And Valdez did not end up with 1,000 yards, 763 with 7 touchdowns. Obviously, we were mostly in the air, but we're going to have to pick that up a little bit. Our only 1,000-yard receiver was Hennessy, had 7 touchdowns as well. Definitely a little step back from what we've been doing and what we're kind of used to. But either way, still a really good season, though. Our defense, though, man, look at how many TFLs we had and how many guys had them as well. In terms of sacks, Vincent did have 8. Gentry still had 7.5, despite the fact that he was injured for about a third of the season. So he still had a really great season. That means we're going to have him for 1 more, I believe. Hopefully we don't have to convince him to stay. Hopefully he's going to want to stay here, but we'll definitely see. And actually, also, too, Vincent is a senior. We're going to end up losing him. We're going to have to find someone to really take his spot. Now, in terms of interceptions, we did end up having 10 total for the season. Not bad. Tritola and Coxey, both with 3. We got Clay Brooks with 2, and then Lehman and Gore each with 1. So again, a really successful season for the most part. 8-4 ain't necessarily the greatest, but still, it could have been a lot worse. So let's sim to the national championship game. Let's see who ends up getting there, and let's also get a chance to do some position changes as well. And wow, Colorado State made it to the national championship game against UCF. Yeah, you can tell we're in like 2029 now. Things have really changed. But let's go. Let's get into the next week, and let's see who ends up winning. As we see, Colorado State won? That is crazy. That is insane. They're in our conference too, so that might be scary next season. But let's check out who is going to be leaving, as it looks like we have 4 guys that are projected to go to the pro draft. And man, it's going to be really tough, and I do see Gentry on that board. But Armour, this is going to be extremely low chance. He's a 93, and yeah, we are not going to get him back, unfortunately. Valdez, will you stay? Oh, that's not good either. Don't tell me Pratt's going to leave too. Okay, good. He's staying in Gentry. We need you. 1 more year, buddy. We end up losing, and that is so rough. Does look like we have a couple other guys that are going to be going to the draft as well, like Pringley and Vincent, as well as Cheeseman. We're going to be losing a lot of really good guys here, and I don't know how we're going to really replace them. I mean, the good thing, though, is at least no one wanted to transfer for other reasons. They just wanted to go to the draft. And speaking of the draft, now we get to see who ended up going, as we ended up placing 6 guys. 2 first-rounders in Armour and Vincent. Valdez and Gentry both went in the 2nd, then Pringley went in the 3rd, and Cheeseman in the 4th. That's awesome to see, although, again, it is really sad to see a lot of them leave. And I'm sorry, before the position changes, we have the transfer portal to look at, too. So let's take a look at all of the California prospects, and do we have anyone that's really good? Unfortunately, no one that does not have us locked out. We only have 1, and it's a 2-star QB, which means I think we're just going to focus on the couple guys that we have left. We only have a kicker, a punter, and a tight end. But honestly, I think this is going to be a really easy land for all 3 of them. So we're only going to be focusing on 3 guys, and that means that this is probably going to be a really boring offseason. But honestly, we already signed a ton of guys, and I think a lot of them are going to be good. A lot of star developments there, and a lot of impacts too. And there we go. First one, Soriano, McNabb, and Pape, which means now we can just advance to the offseason. And thankfully, now we can unlock the talent developer, but we do only have 10 points, so we're going to have to wait a little bit, and we'll see if it's actually worth it. If you guys end up using that yourself, please let me know if it's actually worth it down in the comments and how you end up going forward with that too. And not that it's necessarily extremely important, but for these last 3 guys, let's look at their dev traits. As Soriano is a star, I appreciate that. Normal for McNabb, and Pape is normal as well, but still, hey, a star kicker, we'll take it. So since we have 3 freshman athletes, let's see where we can place them. Gibbs is a 74 overall. But as a halfback goes up to 79, a tight end a 76, a fullback a 75. That's great and everything too, but honestly, let's put him at halfback. I think he could develop pretty well. better than the quarterback, I think. We're also going to take Wilkins, and I think he's going to have to be one of the ends. Now, he could be a pretty good left guard as well, but realistically, we could actually use some guys on the defense because we did just lose a couple of them. So let's put him at right end. And last one, we got Banks here, who's a 68 overall. But hey, again, put him at one of the ends, and he is going to be a 70 overall. Could be pretty good run support too, but honestly, I think having him at the end is probably going to be a little more beneficial, so let's put him at the left. Now, despite the fact that we still have Cantrell, who's going to be a senior and currently an 82, I'm really hoping that we see a big jump from Cone and potentially even Lozano as well. We have a couple underclassmen here that I think could actually transfer pretty well as quarterbacks. As you see, Cone, again, 90 speed, 96 acceleration. Really great quarterback, especially as a scrambler. And if you look at some of his skill caps, still hasn't hit a couple of them yet, especially with the elusiveness and even the accuracy as well. Don't think he's going to get much quicker, but still, he's got a lot of room to grow. And actually, same thing with Lozano, so maybe we actually develop those two together. But man, we have an extremely full roster here, which means that a couple of these guys, like Hopper, is probably going to have to get redshirted, and we might actually have to cut a couple guys as well. But Stockton's going to be a really great halfback for us, and it's nice that we have Gibbs there too. Now, since we are pretty much set at every position, have pretty good overalls at all of them too, I think we're just going to leave everyone where they're at and just kind of see what happens with training results. Doesn't look like anyone really goes up a little bit more if they go to a different position that we need, but it does look like we're going to have to cut some guys. But my favorite time of the year, training results. How did we do? We go up to an 87, which is not up. We ended up going down, but a lot of that is because we end up losing a lot of really good players. However, we do see that Pratt and Coker are our best players, as Cone actually takes a pretty decent jump. Lozano, on the other hand, not so much. Depending on how Cantrell does, I actually think I might want to start Cone. Only because he's a sophomore, it's not like we can redshirt him. So let's get him in and get a little bit of experience for him. Might be a tough road, but you know what? It might be worth it. 88 at running back, that's great to see. Gainwell went up to an 85. Coker, 92. Hennessy, 87. Then it kind of drops off a little bit after that, but still, Shelley's going to be really great. 93 tight end with Pratt, our best player on the team. Does look like our offensive line is still looking pretty decent. Again, we might actually have to look for a better center in the offseason, but we'll definitely see. Looks like our entire defensive line is an 87. Unfortunately, our left outside linebacker did not go up as much as I was hoping, but hopefully in the offseason, maybe we can actually move Allers over there. Freshman redshirt, although we can actually take Calcaterra and put him there too. Again, they're pretty comparable, and actually Allers might be a better middle linebacker. And it looks like Claybrooks is actually up to an 89 too. Again, Tritola's at a 91, Coxie 83. So our secondary is going to be pretty decent, but obviously we might take a step back this season. That's not what we want to see when we're actually starting in the top 25. But we went 9-4 last season. Again, I know we're taking a little bit of a step back with this team now because we went down in overall. But again, we did lose some really good players. But again, I think we could have a really successful season next season. You guys, let me know down in the comments how many games you think we're going to win next season. Do you think we're going to make it to the conference championship, maybe to a playoff game? Or do you think we're going to bust and end up going under 500? Let me know down in the comments, and we'll see who's actually right. Because honestly, those guys that might say that, I might actually agree with you. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to go down and drop a like. If you're new, subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time.